not live. Oh, there we go. Let's go. I did it. Welcome to DMV the show. Sorry about the delay, everyone. We I had a bird escape. I had to capture him before my dogs got to it. So I hope you all understand. We appreciate you for tuning in and jumping on here. As always, I'm your host, Noah, with me. How you doing, buddy?
Wait, did you just say I'm your host, Noah?
No, I'm your host and Noah.
Off to a strong start here, people. Thanks for tuning in and thanks for staying patient. One of these days, I swear, we're going to actually make a real 7 o'clock p.m. kickoff and we're going to be on time. Hasn't happened yet, but we appreciate you for sticking around. And how's that for a valid excuse? Had to stop my bird from getting eaten by my dog. That's way more original than the,
The
dog ate my
homework.
homework type excuse.
Bro, I went up there. I went up there to check on my senior birds, and I noticed one of the youngins was sitting on his like outside of his cage. And I was like, he looks like he's out of his cage, but there's no way. And I get closer, and I'm like, oh, panic mode kicks in. But no one's here for that. We're all here to talk about soccer in the DMV. I want to start with NPSL. We're going to dive into UPSL and we're going to dive into Super Soccer League. No power rankings this week because we did it last week. It's a miracle. We're on back-to-back weeks, so we should be happy. Uh, we're going to dive into NPSL, but before we do, if you are listening and you are new, do make sure you hit that subscribe, like, comment. This is the best channel to follow for DMV soccer and sports in general. It's just that entertaining. So do make sure you hit that subscribe and share for us. We appreciate the community we've built and the thanks to you all and the fans that follow us that this is such a great place to be. All right, MPSL. I'm gonna
Yes.
start because we're gonna start there because I think this is the quickest one we can get through because for me it's a three-horse race, but we're gonna start with Virginia Dreams, and we have to talk about their 13 goal weekend. Uh, I mean, on May 24th, they beat DMV Elite 3-0, and then they go the next day to beat Rough Diamonds 10-0. Oh, I mean, it's rough for the Rough Diamonds, really. I mean, it's two
Well,
games
which
against.
brings their goal differential now to 27 goals for and no goals conceded, which as impressive as 27 goals is in the three matches, I'm more impressed by the lack of conceding any goals. And, albeit, not the strongest opposition to Rough Diamonds game. DMV Elite, they were a tough opponent, but the goalkeepers actually were called into action. Lorenzo Herrera had to defend his clean sheet with a fantastic point blank save, and actually he created one of the goals with distribution. So, it's been a class performance. Obviously, if we were doing power rankings, it would be hard to pick anyone but Virginia Dream, the incumbent champions. But Dream will know there's an asterisk there to that. Dream will know it's going to get tougher. It's not going to be 10 goal games, 14 goal games. They are going to be tested down the stretch. They're going to be tested this district elite side. Of course, Ristosi, that is the one we have circled on the calendar. Frederick always puts out a
Yeah.
solid side, and there are others. So um, don't count your chickens before they hatch and start you know preparing your trophy because Dream still has some work to do. But yeah, they're really firing all cylinders.
Like, let's be honest though. Like, no disrespect to any of the teams in this conference, right? But outside of Ristosi and maybe Grove, based on what I've seen, I don't know if Virginia Dreams is going to get pushed too far. Like, I really don't know. Like, so let's go into the second point. Ristosi's averaging 4.5 goals in their two matches, right? They beat DMV Elite 4-2, and then they go and beat Frederick 5-0. So it's like I already Ristosi's already their debut season already looking very confident and comfortable in that their conference. So it's like that makes me think about it. And then on top of that, you have Grove, who's won both of their games. Is not as big as these two, but it's a 2-0 win over Virginia Beach City, and then a 4-5 win over DMV Elite, or sorry, a District Elite. So it's like,
Oh, they did.
I'll,
They did. I've heard good things about the district elite side. Haven't gotten to see them play, but that to me is an impressive performance. Was it at Grove?
no, Grove was at DMV Elite.
That's impressive for me because I understand it when teams have to go to Richmond, play away. I think Dream fell into that trap a couple seasons or maybe last year where they had tough to defeat. It's just tough to go down there. But for them to travel up to DC Grove and beat District Elite, that that's something that turns my head.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like for me, it's like Grove is on like a team to watch. Ristosi's looking comfortable, and then it's just Virginia Dream. So it's like outside of those three, like no disrespect to any other team, but it looks like a tough challenge for anyone if you're not one of those three teams.
Yeah, yeah. I think right now we have to just keep that match circled. It's an unknown. That's a new team in the conference. Ristosi. It's hard to we can assess the metrics of how many goals they've scored against this team and that, but ultimately that's going to come down to tactics, individual
Yep.
matchups. And of course who's fielded on that particular day. I would have to give Dream the advantage because of their experience, because of the depth they've got. But certainly, Ristosi is a far cry from anything in the NPSL that I think Dream have faced of yet. Um, but yeah, it's good to see the NPSL take shape.
Mr. Coach Carter, we will be getting to you guys
Oh
shortly,
yeah,
so don't you dare go anywhere.
cracking
um,
match on Saturday night MSI. There weren't a whole lot of matches this weekend, but we did have the pleasure of covering some great teams. We got to see Dream play in the NPSL, and we got to see MSI. Move their way up to the top of the table in the UPSL. Sorry if I'm spoiling your run of show, Gio.
it's all right. We're going on the fly at this point. But yeah, I think for me, and just to wrap up the NPSL, it's going to be Virginia Dreams, Ristosi, Dark Horse Grove as the teams to that are really going to make this push.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk UPSL. UPSL, we're gonna start south, and I'm gonna ask you some questions. I'm gonna ask you some questions, and because you're very familiar with the South, you're kind of like the Mr. Know It All in the South. So we'll start there. I kind of want to start on this match. You're not gonna be here, so we have to talk about it. Revs versus Dream. How big is this match?
It determines everything. I mean, that's not it's not hyperbole to say. I think this is the match that will determine the regular season title. Now, of course, there's going to be playoffs that will allow a second chance for teams like Reds, Arlington, etc. Arlington's still in the mix, of course, and we'll be eagerly watching the result of this match because it directly affects them. Um,
Right.
but as far as regular season title, yeah, I don't see either of these sides dropping points after this game. So huge matchup.
Obviously, it's not their very next matchup, but it is a matchup that's coming down for both Virginia Dreams and Virginia Revolution. But those two teams are exciting. I mean, Revolution just had a huge win against Arlington, which knocked Arlington down to the third slot and moved. Well, actually, Revolution didn't move anywhere; they just stayed in the second slot. Virginia
No,
Dreams
no, they
moved into
did.
the first slot.
No, they replaced Arlington. Arlington was first and went down to third.
Yeah, but Virginia Dreams is first now.
Right. So I'm saying Virginia Revolution was third. They moved to second.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. They flip flop. They
Oh
flip
yeah.
flop. Got it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. So yeah. So I mean this is gonna be a very exciting match. Obviously, as I was mentioning, it's not their very next match. Their very next match, Virginia Revolution is going to be playing Villarreal, which should be a regular day in the office for Revolution, and then Virginia Dreams will be playing North Star, which also should be a regular day in the office, and then that's when they're playing on June 7th at Revolution's home field, if I'm not mistaken, Stadium Field, right?
Yeah, that's at Raven Tech, which that's a huge, I want to say huge advantage, because I think Dream is a team that's played, Open Cup. They've played
Yeah.
those players have played on full 75-yard by 120 pitch. So they'll know how to approach it technically, but it is an advantage. Revolution practice on that field regularly. They've got their home fans. They know, their kind of routine there. And so that definitely is a leg up for them.
What? All right. Let's move on to Arlington, because Arlington has a huge match coming up, and that's going to be against Alexandria Reds. Uh, this while we're talking about Revolution and the Dreams 2 weeks from now, Arlington versus Reds is this weekend, and for Arlington, this is a must-win game if they want to keep pace. And this is a for more of a off the field thing. It's more of a rivalry than it is on the field. Obviously, it's still a very good match. It's still going to be an exciting match to watch, but it's a must-win for Arlington, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Must win, based on the metrics, based on the table, but must win for a side that considers themselves, a title contender. That's a huge loss of face to lose any match 5-1. I know that they'll be disappointed. They'll have higher standards for themselves. So I anticipate they're going to come out of this hiatus the stronger, but they're going to be looking for that statement win to kind of, reiterate what they believe and show that to everyone else. So, yeah, huge match, must win is not too early to say that in the season.
I mean, it, if if they make a statement win against the Reds, it's just going to add more to the fire.
Yeah,
It's but
of course,
it's going to
there's
be
some familiarity, multiple players. Coach, excuse me, GM Leland Kredic, just made the trip over, and I don't think it's like a harbored bad will, from the
no, no,
players
no.
or from, but you want to do well against your former club. That's just a reality. Yeah. So,
It's like a
uh,
friendly rivalry.
yeah. And looking at what Reds have to lose, they're still likely going to earn that fourth playoff seed. So from a Reds perspective, less of a must win, from a purely points standpoint. Of course, they'll want to win, but um, yeah, I think Arlington, it's a symbolic match that really they will want to do well.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to South B, because South B, Los Toros, who we were painting as the favorites, l- obviously lost the lead to Lynchburg, and it's something minor, but it still matters. And this weekend they'll get the opportunity to rectify this, as they will be facing each other. They'll be facing uh, Los Toros will be facing Lynchburg. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's going to be at Lynchburg at South Lake High School Stadium.
That's Toros' home, yeah,
Sorry,
and it will be, the
Toros.
reason that's important is it will be live on the channel. Um, so that's a huge match to tune in for. Los
I
Toros
said the
versus
31st,
Lynchburg,
right?
could be a title decider. Another huge match, probably on the same plane.
Well, so here's an interesting thing. I was going down the rabbit hole, Noah, in preparation for this, and I usually go straight to UPSL's website, right? For some reason, this time I went into UPSL Northeast Conference, and I saw that their standings had both DMV South and DMV South A and B together, and I was like, does that mean anything, or is it just
There's
coincidental?
gonna be a co-playoff between DMV South A and B. It's a little bit confusing, but it just, I'll make it simple. The 1, 2, 3, and 4 from DMV South A will make playoffs. DMV South B gets 3 teams. There's gonna be a joint playoff between the two, where higher seeded teams play lower seeded teams across the different South Conference. And I believe I think the top team from each conference gets a bye. Don't want to get into the weeds on that, but um, that's how many teams from each will make playoffs. 3 from B, 4 from A.
So even more important is the fact that these two teams are going to play each other this weekend, because after that they don't face each other again. They're only going to face other teams. So for Toros, this I like not that it's a concern of anything because they're going to make the playoffs, but it's more so for bragging rights and first place titles. Uh, Los Toros needs to win this, as where Lynchburg would be happy with a tie.
Yeah, and then Toros come right off of that match with another key matchup against Doradas the next week. I think, the bigger match is against Lynchburg, but Doradas are fighting tooth and nail to hold on to their own playoff spot. So it'll be a huge match for both sides there. Some really big matches. I'm a little sad that I'll be missing some of it, but I'm excited that the team is to a place now where I don't have to be, you there for all of that. I will be checking on my phone in Nicaragua, bringing DMV sports media to all the Pioneros.
So look, all I need you to do is enjoy vacation. That's
I'll
number
try
one.
not to tune in, but I can't
I
promise.
need you to enjoy vacation. I look, I'm I'm just saying it. I'm saying it on air, so it's there. It exists. But yeah, all right. So let's move into the north.
Yes.
North, I absolutely am enjoying this race. Last week it was a different scenario. It was Chiefs and Hyper, and that's all we talked about. Obviously, we said MSI was the team to look out for, and MSI gets the job done against Rockville, a convincing, solid win, 3-0 win over Rockville. While on the other side, we were having Chiefs and DC Hyper face off. They split the game in a 1-1 draw, and lo and behold, MSI is sitting at the top of the table. And I'm gonna say this to you because I'm gonna paint the picture for you. Chiefs has 2 games left because they have played 8 games. DC Hyper has a game against Rockville, or sorry, a game against Germantown, then a game against Rockville, and then they're ending their season with Frederick Fredericks King Fredericks Kings FC, and then MSI obviously also has 3 games: Frederick Kings, Hybrid, which we'll be streaming that game, and Bridge Sports. We'll talk about Bridge Sports here in a second. Don't focus on Bridge Sports, but can anyone catch MSI?
Can they? It comes down to MSI more than it does any other side catching them. I think MSI they do control their own destiny now. I don't think anyone will. I think MSI is picking up momentum. They're playing their best footy. They got the result that they were looking for. We kind of talked about MSI almost as an afterthought in that Chiefs, DC Hyper battle, just because it's hard to imagine, there's like, okay, they need this to happen. They need this draw. They also need to, pick up the victory. Not that either one was so unlikely, but now it's happened. It's here, and it's MSI's, position to defend. Not to mention they looked really strong. The match was both closer and not as close as it seemed. Like it was 0-0 for quite a while. But I mean, you were there and saw it in person. Correct me if I'm wrong. It seemed like they were the dominant side. Like MSI had a lot of
Yeah, I
chances.
mean, like I know one goal in the beginning in the first half would have maybe changed the trajectory slightly of the game, but the way MSI was playing, I honestly did not see a result coming, any other result besides MSI winning that game. That it just wouldn't have made sense. They were just way better. The first half was closer, but the second half it's really where MSI opened up and they just played out of this world. And I mean, I'll add that. I'll add this performance on top of their last 3 performances because they're on a 4 game winning streak. So it's reality. MSI has been doing it for some time now, and it's not like easy. It's not like walk in the park games, right? I mean, they got the result against Chiefs United. Before that they got the result against Hyper, and then they go to beat Germantown, who I thought were a really good side, but have recently taken a little bit of a nosedive, and then Rockville. MSI is just in a great form.
Yeah.
So I don't.
What a hit from Alex Roboleski. That was a fantastic strike to,
Yeah,
to to kick
seriously.
the
I mean,
scoring off. That's sometimes you need that kickstart of, just a moment of brilliance. You're playing the game well, but the ball's just not finding the back of the net. You need that individual brilliance at times. And then
yeah,
everything else starts to fire on all cylinders. Your passes, your final passes are connecting, players are finishing, but
yeah.
excellent moment of leadership and finishing from Roboleski.
for sure. And Austin Hyde says, "You guys see the refing decision is the hyper
I know he's Austin. You know, you're killing my
English."
ADD right now. I'm trying to have this like informed discussion with Geo and like focus on the topic at hand, and you're putting this like super incisive, distracting thing. I'm like, tell us what happened. Now I'm opening up new tabs to look up the live stream of the game. Like Austin, if it's nothing bad or anything, can you put it in the chat? Because I'm really
Look,
curious. Like,
I'll say this. I didn't get to watch the game because I was on the stream. I got to watch some of like the goals, and I didn't get to actually see the refing decision. I've heard a little bit about it. I don't know exactly what happened, but I'll say this. This is what I'll say, and I've said this to you, Noah, and I've said this to everyone. One moment shouldn't decide your game. Your game, you have 90 minutes. If you put yourself in a position where you get a red card, it's because of something that you've slowly built to that point where you've put yourself under pressure, and then you get that red card and then your game goes to crap, or you've put your game in the hands of the referee where you had ample time to correct your game or play better than you have. It's anytime you leave it to the referee, it's never going to go your way.
yeah, I 100% agree. And I know it seems so easy for talking heads to say, oh, the referee decision shouldn't decide the game. To some extent, that's right. Like it sucks when a decision completely changes the face of the game. I've been there as a player, and
Yeah.
I know very much that it does affect you. But in the same, I will double down on what you said. There is no excuse for turning a mistake into disrespect, any kind of verbal assault, and then ultimately whatever outcome, the red card that you may receive as a result, that's on you. you know you have to turn around, you have to just keep buckling down, because these things, these chance events, like a mistake, a referee mistake, eventually, like, probability does even out. Sometimes that a mistake goes against you, then their goalkeeper drops the ball into his own net or something like that. It may not happen, it may not right itself within that game, but you have to trust that over time, if you just keep doing what you're doing, that
It will, yeah.
the right things will happen, and it may not happen immediately. Um but now I see that there is a response, so I'm
So
curious to
so
know.
here, I have a response to that. From what I saw the game, Hyper had plenty opportunities to make it 2-1 or 2-0 for that matter. So not putting away them chances allowed this to be a bigger deal than it should have been. Because I guarantee if DC Hyper would have put away one or more of those games, then, or sorry, one or more of those goals, then they wouldn't even have cared. They wouldn't even have took it to their social media, right?
I'm
That's
pretty
that's what I
sure that
think.
if a ball deflects off the referee, it doesn't change possession. That is not a reason to stop for a restart. I'm also looking it up and gonna ask Chat GPT. But
All right,
um,
for those that aren't reading the chat, we should. I'll read the scenario while you're looking at
yeah,
Chat
yeah, you,
GPT.
you let the people know.
So Austin says DC Hyper. Well, I'll skip the first part because if you want to know, they go to their Instagram. But a Chiefs player blasts the ball into the referee, deflecting to a Chiefs player, or yes, to a Chiefs players, and they scored off of it. Referee never blew it. I, so here's, I think you're right, Noah. Had it changed possessions into a DC Hyper player, the referee should stop the play because he interrupted the play and caused a change of possessions, if I'm not mistaken. But because it stayed with Chiefs, he probably just played advantage and continued the game.
I am seeing a caveat here that if
No caveats. Why
it
caveats?
it,
Come on, FIFA.
play continues unless it leads to a promising attack, changes possession, or results in a goal. Um, I mean, it sounds like it didn't directly result in a goal, like it didn't go into the goal. Um, I'd have to see.
I
But in any case, it's not as straight up as ball hits referee, must be stopped. And I do see that often the case. Players will stop playing as soon as the ball strikes the referee, and it's like, just keep playing. He's gonna if it's gonna be stopped, he's gonna stop it. That's not something that you need to adjudicate. And
But again, I go back to the point. DC Hyper had more opportunities before and after they tied it. So it's like you put away one of those chances, you're not even talking about this. You're not even going to Instagram to talk about this. That's my
No.
point.
And Austin says just thought it was funny because Hyper went off on IG quoting the rule book. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay, well, in any case, that's a bummer. I mean, these things do happen. I'm not excusing. I'm somewhat excusing it, but the referees, like you said, the referees may have made a mistake, but how many mistakes were made by the players on the field? And no one's batting an eye at any of the missed finishes, and it never is the case. And
I never.
I understand, but things people don't understand is the referees really do want to get it right. It's a hard game to officiate. They are reviewing our live streams as much as any player, if not more. And
Yeah.
the assigners are using it too. So if players are thinking that these referees are coming out, collecting their money, and going home, and like whatever, those people like don't care about them. Like I'm sure bummed when they feel like they've messed up a game. It really does. So just keep your side of the street clean, please. And these things will sort themselves out. If a mistake is made, it will get rectified. In terms of future execution.
Josh is killing me with these comments, bro. He said, "Let's get that XG on where the I can't." Oh no, I'm dying.
Oh
All
man.
right, I totally lost track of where we were heading. Uh,
MSI, it's their title to.
oh, right. So Bridgesports. So
Yeah.
Bridgeport is currently sitting in fifth place, right? They're sitting in fifth place. But I have a question for you, and I'm gonna paint the picture for you. Are they the second best team in the North? Here's why I say this. They are on the same winning streak as MSI. They uh, currently Chiefs are on a draw win loss draw win, same as DC Hyper. Bridgesport's last last four games where they've gotten their four games results is Hybrid, Frederick, Rockville, Germantown. Lost against Chiefs, but lost against DC Hyper. Very close games, both of them. But they have found their form. They're on a four-game winning streak. Their their streak is coming on at the right time because it's now like close to the end of the season. Everyone else is not performing as well as they are. Obviously, MSI is as well. So I ask you, is Bridgeport's going to take that number two spot?
I Are they going to take the spot? I think it's up to them. They are catching form, kind of in a similar way to MSI, like you said. I think, and maybe it's a recency bias, maybe it's just a coverage bias. I have a lot more familiarity with MSI, and I know what they're able to do on the field. But I'm going to go with what I know, and I'm going to pick MSI because I think they have the momentum, and not only the momentum, but they have the points. I mean, a lot has to go, or a couple things have to
Yeah.
go Chiefs' way, aside from them doing well on the field. Um, but ultimately, that Chiefs MSI match, excuse me, Bridgeport MSI match
Bridgeport's.
at the end of the season, they're going to each have their opportunity to show themselves and um, prove me wrong, Bridgeport. But I'm picking MSI for right now.
Yeah, I'm also picking MSI. I was kind of more thinking, does Bridgeport's overtake Chiefs and DC Hyper? But it's really up to them. So we will see. We'll see where the dices fall at the end. So UPSL is very fun, very active as far as the leaderboard. It's not as clear cut as NPSL. That could change, but as what we see, that's where we are. So let's turn our attentions to Super Soccer League, Noah. And I'm a little nervous because we're about to talk some Slancha Baltimore.
Yeah, where are we starting off today? Sometimes we start in Virginia, sometimes we start in
We're gonna
Maryland.
start. We're gonna start in Baltimore. Actually, we're gonna be all over the place, but we're gonna start in. We're gonna start in Division Two. We're gonna start with who drops points, Slancha or Baltimore.
Are
I
they playing?
will.
It's not this week. Oh,
No,
you're
they're not
talking
playing
about in
this
their
weekend
respective matchups.
in their respective matches. So Slancha is playing um, uh, NPC, and Baltimore is playing Etihad or no Etihad or Peru United. Hold on, I'll get that answer. Thought I
This
had it
week,
in my head.
Peru United is playing Baltimore
Peru
City
United,
FC.
yes. Oh, and Slanch is playing Etihad. That's what it was. That's why I got them mixed up. So
Is
who's
it
dropping
is it
points this weekend?
acceptable for me to say that neither will drop points?
Yeah,
I think
that's
yeah,
acceptable.
I think that's my likely scenario. I think Slancha is hitting a rough patch, but and I don't know if they 100% bring everything together this weekend, but I do think they bring it together enough to pick up the 3 points.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, those are both last time Peru United and Baltimore City played each other. That was that match that Peru United absolutely played out of this world and came back on that late second half run to tie it up, which was very fun to watch. And then Slancha just needs to bounce back. That's really what it is. And I think Itty had, while it's a good team, they just came off of their huge win against Touch Kings. I think Slancha is a little bit of a different pace right now, and I think they're going to take all 3 points. But I was just curious to see if you had any different perspectives.
No,
Any
yeah,
other?
I don't think the league is going to be settled this week. I think it's going to kind of
No.
push onwards. Um, and I think the league, in all likelihood, could be settled on June 21st for that 11 a.m. Baltimore City FC versus Slancha match. Um, but certainly circling that one on my calendar because that's a
If
huge.
you're not watching that game, I have
I mean, there's
no idea
nothing
what you're
else.
doing.
Like, I get it. Some matches go on the same time as there's like NPSL, USL, UPSL,
Look,
whatever. There's nothing going on at 11 a.m. There's nothing. There's no,
on a Sunday, brother,
yeah, there's
you go
no,
to
fall
church and
football,
then
fall
meet
American
me at that
football.
field because that's the game that you want to watch. Like if you didn't watch any D2 games, that is the game you want to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a
A future,
Baltimore
at least
rivalry.
one future Division One team will be playing in that game, possibly
If
two,
it, yeah, I was gonna say if not both.
if not
But we
both.
can't write out for me. You can't write out MSI, and
Can't write out
MSI has
MSI. Touch
NPC.
Kings have still shown what they're capable of at their best. They haven't been at their best for a little while, but yeah, that's gonna be a great playoff sequence in
Yeah,
Division Two.
100% for yeah. Uh, so we're gonna kind of stay in Maryland. We're gonna end in Virginia because we're
By the
just
way,
gonna end in
welcome
Virginia.
Peter. Always a pleasure to see you, and Josh, of course, and Irving. Always good to see the referee community. The bottom team is set to get
Wait, hold on.
relegated. Oh,
Drew, get out of my run of show, please. Like, can you just get out of my run of show? That question is coming up literally right now. I was
yeah,
gonna
he's
ask.
anticipating your mind well.
I know, like, what is this? Were you watching me too much or something? So can Baltimore kickers escape? Um, can they escape being moved down to Division Two?
In
That's my
short,
question for you. God, no,
I
don't be
don't
cold.
know, and we've talked about this. I think they're playing as good as they've played all season, and it's such a shame because I think if
Yeah.
it's based on form, they deserve to stay up, right? But it's based on points, and I don't know that they're going to secure the 8 points or more that are requisite to pass ambition um, in the final four matches. It's possible, but they're going to need to beat some really strong teams, and they're going to need to do it more than once. So, no, I don't think so, but I think they're going to make it very interesting.
Yeah, and just for full transparency's sake, we're Baltimore Kickers are playing their last four games because it is their last four games. They'll be playing Team United, Bowleys, Das Beer Hall, and Ambition. Right, that Ambition. If they're Austin, cover your ears. But if they're to get points on all these teams and then go and beat Ambition as the final game, that's an exciting matchup for me. But I don't think they beat Bullies. I don't think they beat Das Beer Hall because of the match Das Beer Hall just had against Bullies.
No,
It's a big ask. I think
no,
we'll be
they're
seeing.
not going to beat either. This is prove me wrong, Baltimore Kickers. I would, no offense, Austin Beer Hall, no offense, but I would love to see it. Just chaos, just absolute chaos in the Division One. Just Baltimore Kickers go on an absolute tear. But yeah, no, mathematically, I think it's stacked against them.
So hopefully that answers your question, Drew. It is the bottom team that gets regulated to the
Yes.
Division Two. Yep. All right. Uh, which should be noted, Ambition is taking a really nosedive.
There he is. Good to see Austin still with us.
Austin, we absolutely don't think it's gonna happen, but it'll be fun though. Like, think about it.
He's not going to agree with us. Just get over it, Gio. It's not. But while we're on the division one, we got
Yeah,
some
we got to
interesting
talk about that.
storylines to.
So, since he's here, who are you picking? Steel Pulse or Bullies?
If Bullies can get Ben Stitz, I was going to say all their players to the field, but let's keep it real. Can they get Ben Stitz to the field against Steel Pulse? Then let's go. Let's go. I mean, I think it's very much game on. Steel Pulse are gonna find a way to get all of their very best. I think. I say that, but then as I say it, I I doubt myself. But they should, and I think they will. I think they'll get their best
Oh my
players to the field.
goodness. Yeah, I mean, from last time I talked to Steel Pulse, they were saying every game from here on out is a must win, and the last game they had was against the Bullies, and they won it. So if that is the attitude they're taking, I'm assuming they're gonna bring their A roster. I'm assuming they're gonna get there an hour early. I'm assuming I'm assuming they're gonna do everything they need to win these next couple of games, these next 4 games. Now, let's say for some reason Steel Pulse is like, oh, you know what? We already beat these guys. We don't need to take it. If they take any kind of measures off the gas, I think Bullies punches them in the.
Yeah, I agree. You gotta. I said Ben Stitz, but you gotta have Texiador there. Gotta have Greg Adams. There's a whole host of players that have been playing at a high level that need to be there. But when they had Stitz there on the cherry on top, it was it was a whole milkshake. I mean that was, that was a crazy cast of players. Um, but I think that's what's required to not only compete but to beat Steel Pulse, which is that they need a victory. They cannot draw that game. They absolutely need the victory if they want to keep their title hopes alive.
Also, let me ask you that: how big is that that tie with Das Beer Hall, that 3-3 tie? Like, how big is that? Because now they're 2 points behind. Like, now this game has become a must win. They can no longer tie it. They have to win it.
I'm also looking
Don't get
forward to
distracted.
MSI versus and
We'll we'll
sorry,
get back to
sorry,
that. We'll get back to that. I
sorry,
promise,
Miss.
Coach Carter. We'll get back to that. Look, now
Refresh me.
you done send him down a rabbit hole. You need to close the chat, Noah. You need to close the chat.
You see my ADD at work. Okay, all right, we're going off the chat. Sorry.
I will attend the chat. So I was saying, how big is that tie that Spear Hall pulled on Boldies? Because now they're 2 points down. Now this game becomes a must win. They can't tie Steel Pulse. They need to win this game.
Well,
So
it was Bullies who pulled the tie on Beer Hall because Beer Hall had the game in hand. They were up 2-0 going into the second half. Bullies came back. Beer Hall regained the lead again, and Bullies fought tooth and nail at home to claim that victory. Beer Hall showing that they're not done yet. I mean, obviously Bullies is a team that rightfully has all the hype this season, but I knew it. I knew that Beer Hall is a side you cannot write off. They have
yeah.
the more senior players of the league. But it's guys they just know how to win. They know how to, and when they get stuck in and they're at a point in their season where it's like, it's they can either miss out on the third place or they can go in and contest for the top spots. Then they're putting everything out there right now.
Coach Carter, please don't feel bad. It's just Noah. Noah just you made him feel
No,
bad.
that's not you. You're supposed to be engaging
Yeah, you're saying
engaging in the
please,
chat. I'm supposed to be
please.
being attentive and yeah, not being distracted. That's not on
No,
you.
but okay, we can. So we'll wrap it up here, and then we can address Coach Carter's points. Uh, must win for Bullies. If Steel Pulse takes any kind of pedal off of the, or sorry, any pressure off the pedal for gas, they're losing points. So this should be a must win for both teams if they want to win the title. All right, Coach Carter said, looking forward to MSI versus NPC, my mentor club, on Thursday. Assuming we don't get rained out, MSSL's finish is going to be Really interesting. Shout out to Greg Adams, good player. I didn't know. So when you say mentors club, is that like your mentor or you were mentored by them? Because that's a really neat story. If that is the case, either way,
It, and also, I didn't know that there was a game on Thursday.
you didn't know it was gonna rain.
Not, I didn't know there was a game on Thursday.
What? Okay,
Did
we.
you?
Yes, it's in the
Okay,
chat.
my bad.
All right, all right, all
Gio's
right.
got it covered. Don't have no fear, people. Have no fear.
We'll get back to that.
Also, while we're on the topic, going back to D2, in because we spent so much time talking about the Slancha Baltimore City race, I did want to give a shout to Etihad, who had a big result this weekend. A last minute goal against Peru United, heartbreaking for Peru United, but was just an absolutely like ecstasy like based celebration. The whole team came together. It was great to see. I think Etihad, they've pretty much secured their space in playoffs. I don't think that Peru or NPC will catch them. MSI might and probably will, but it's 2, 3, 4, and 5 that'll make playoffs in Division Two. The top seed will not have to play in playoffs, so um, that's a huge result for Etihad.
Oh, that's really cool. So we got a answer on my question. Coach Carter says, Coach Paul and NPC got me into coaching. There we go. It's really cool.
I'm
All
sneaking a
right,
look at the
Noah,
chat.
take take it away, Virginia. I mean, there's really nothing to say here, right? I mean, it's gonna end Virginia Dreams, Los Toros, Dorados, and however other order
There was
beneath
a
them.
moment. There was a moment on Thursday. For context, North Stars matched up against Los Toros. I mean, Dream had 17 goal differential ahead of Los Toros. They're going to end up likely tied on points, but there was no storyline in my mind that said, Toros catching Dream on goal differential. But then North Stars, but they got a goalkeeper red card. They didn't have any, most teams don't bring two goalkeepers to the game, but there's a guy who can step in and has
Yeah.
has got some familiarity. They did not have that, and it went downhill really quickly. Toros ended up victorious 11-3, and I'll say the individual who played really much better at the end of the game. He made some actually really big stops, seemed to feel out the position, but for a second it looked like Toros might end up catching Dream on points. But they kind of ran out of steam at the end of the game. It was 7-1 at halftime, and then 11-3 at the end of the game. So nothing to write home about. But yeah, Dream, I think they're going to go home. Regular season title holders again. Toros second place, but then it's playoffs. Dream, Toros, Dorados, and that fourth spot is going to be up for grabs. Huge match tomorrow night. Blazers, LAIFC. Now the game, it's all in Blazers' hands since Alexandria United dropped to LAI a couple weeks ago.
Oh right, yeah.
North Stars, they are now eliminated. I think LAI and Esperion are out. Yeah.
There you go. So it's in Blazers' hand, pretty much.
Yeah.
Alrighty. That wraps us up on the regular season, but I do want to address this point. There's a question in the chat from a IA. I'm not sure those are initials or the robot, but why is there playoffs for D2 and not D1? So D2 has even teams. So we went for a 10. No, sorry, not even teams.
They have the exact same number of teams, Gio.
Yeah,
Can I
you're
fill this
right.
one?
But we just opted out. We just opted for them to have a ten game season.
Can I answer this one?
Oh my goodness, go ahead.
Okay. First thing that is the context for this one, democracy is the answer. The teams, the
But there's a
managers
10 game season.
at the beginning of the season elect how they want their playoff structures to be. And Division One voted for a 12-game season, which didn't leave enough time for a playoff because they wanted every team to play every team twice. You play the other 6 teams twice, and then they're going to go for a Premier League style finish this season. In the past, there have been playoffs. Division Two voted that wasn't as important to them to have the 12 games in the regular season, to have parity in scheduling. And they did want to have a playoff. So there will be a regular season title holder for the Division 2, which will be automatically promoted. Then 2 plays 5, 3 plays 4 in the semifinals, and then the finals will dictate the second promoted team. But it comes down to just the democracy. The managers voted both of those.
But 10-game season, as I was saying, Noah.
Yeah, but the 10-game season it's democracy.
Hello from the down under. Do you guys have? Yes, we do. We just kind of,
Welcome, Random Aussie. Always a pleasure to see you, man. I still haven't figured out if Random Aussie is either got the longest running bit or is actually just a Random Aussie, and I'm leaning very much towards. I think he's really from down under because
I mean, that's what he says. I'm just gonna believe him at face value.
I'm a distrusting person, but I believe you, Random Aussie, certainly, and always a pleasure to have you in the live streams, live broadcasts, and everything else.
No, we're gonna play a little game. We're gonna play a little game called This or That. Before we sign off here, it's only gonna be 4 questions, and I'm gonna opt to maybe not participate because they're little sticky situations here. No, I'm gonna participate. All right, let's start with the first This or That. Dream makes a UPSL national run, but loses the rest of their leagues, or Dream makes an NPSL national run, but loses the rest of their other leagues. What do you?
Didn't you just describe the same situation?
Yeah, but one is NPSL and one is UPSL.
I don't understand the question. I don't see either scenario.
So Dream makes a national run for UPSL, but loses Super Soccer League and NPSL. Or we flip that and say Dream makes an NPSL run, but loses UPSL and Super Soccer League.
Neither.
He's like, I don't care. I just wanted them to win Super Soccer League.
So I could let's play the game. Let's play the game. All right.
Yeah, play the game, Noah.
Play the game. I could see a scenario. Is it UPSL or NPSL? Is that the selection?
Yeah.
Okay.
In reality, I just want to see Dreams play national level, but that's
I mean, I think realistically they're gonna potentially. Can they lose at the DMV North-South stage?
Sure.
For the other one?
Oh, no. So hold on. Wait, no. This is not realistic at all, right? This is not realistic at all. So they don't make the playoffs. They only can make the playoffs either UPSL or NPSL. I know that's not realistic, but we're making it this way.
Make the playoffs? There's no way that they're missing playoffs in either. There's
I know, but this is not realistic.
I would bet my car right now on.
This is not realistic, Noah. Play the game.
I'm not good at these. I think UPSL is further along, so they would have to get eliminated in NPSL because that doesn't make sense either. They have 27-0. You're trying to get a nice little soundbite off of me that you're gonna clip this and put it on social media and say, look,
no, I'm not.
Noah said that Dream are gonna miss the NPSL or UPSL playoffs. I see what you're doing.
No. Don't behave me as a bad guy. No.
This is how they get you, ladies and gentlemen. This is how they get you.
I'll answer this. I'd rather see Dreams make a UPSL run for me. I know it's not literally possible for them to miss out NPSL because of the way they're running, but I would go UPSL because I feel like the UPSL gets more eyes on them in the later stages, and NPSL for me is in a place where its existence is questioned, like off the field more so than on the field because of everything that's happened last season to this season. So I feel like for me, if I'm Dreams and I'm the organization, I'm going to put my time and energy in UPSL because NPSL, there's a lot of question marks in the air.
Or okay, now I'm going to play contrarian.
See, now he wants to play.
Or NPSL right off into the sunset. I'm not saying, nor do I have any knowledge of, any plans to leave, but I'm just saying in that scenario, Dream wants to ride off into the sunset. I want to see Dream Farrelito. That would be,
Oh, that would be a good
that would
match.
be
You know what? I
such a
didn't even think about
such a
that.
matchup. Okay, let's see. Dream El Farolito NPSL finals. Both teams ride off into the sunset in whatever magical next option there is, and everybody's happy. Um, yeah, that's my
That's a
story.
good
I'm
one. I
sticking
didn't
to
even
it.
think about that. Damn, that just
Yeah.
completely changed my. All right, anyways, let's move on to the next one because we spent way too long on that one. All right, so this one's a little tougher, and Austin's in the chat, so he's probably gonna hate one of us. Bullies wins the regular season title, or Bullies wins the Division 1 title, or Slancha gets automatic promotion.
I think Slancha gets automatic promotion. Um,
Oof.
Not saying bullies can't do it. It's just Slancha are automatically they're in the top spot right now, and bullies are not.
Hmm.
So it's kind of I'm taking the safer choice because
That's
I'm just
fair.
going based on if I just look at the standings right now. Yeah,
Yeah.
Slancha.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I think I'll take the same choice based on that too, though. I like no disrespect to Bullies. I think if Bullies wins this match this weekend, I'm probably saying this different. I
yeah.
rather see them win
Of course,
the
yeah.
but this weekend is a big task. All right, here we go. This or that. Would you rather Rastosi wins the NPSL conference in their debut season, or would you rather Rastosi bring a second team to Super Soccer League?
Super Soccer League.
I knew this one was going to be the easiest one.
I mean, I want
I-
yeah. I can't wait to see, and I think that they should get their due. And but I can't. I mean, I miss having Ristosi in the league. So
yeah,
sorry if that's selfish, Ristosi. I'm
it's
not going
all
to
right. This is
apologize
all
though. Actually,
this is all in fun. This is all in fun. All right, here we go. Here's the next one, and this is going to be MSI, and it's because it's a top of mind. MSI gets promoted into Division 1, whether it's through the playoffs or the regular season, or they win their UPSL conference.
so they either get promoted or they win the UPSL DMV North.
Hmm. That's a tricky one, isn't it?
I think UPSL DMV North, but I think both. I think both are going to happen. But based on where MSI are on the table right now, they're just going to have to put in some work. And again, so I'm going to go status quo type thing. They're at the top of the UPSL DMV North. Of course, there's a long path to go, but
Is there? I mean, it's only 3 games. I mean,
well, they got playoffs
and
too.
oh, that's well, no. They only have to win DMV North. Oh yeah, they do have win. Oh, you're right. Oh man, I didn't think that one through. You're 100% right. They still have to do playoffs to win the conference.
Yeah,
Oh
so
man,
that's they have
that
playoffs in
is a
either
long
case,
run.
most likely.
Yeah.
Pretty much definitely. But um, yeah, I don't know. I think it depends on how they do personnel. If MSI decide to go all in, and commit to the way they were committing in the first couple games, I mean, promotion is there for them. Like that's there. But it is difficult. It's difficult to play Saturday and then play Sunday, and I think they'll have to manage personalities, have to manage, um, the question. That I'm not looking at the chat, but
No, go for it because I was gonna go there. That was my last this or that.
being
So
UPSL
we're
DMV
good.
North and South champions will play one another. UPSL DMV South has two conferences, A and B. They'll have like kind of a versus B type
Yeah.
playoff, semifinals, finals. Out of that the champions will play one another. The DMV North will play the DMV South champion. I believe that's July 5th or July 12th. It's one of the first weekends in July. Um, but yeah, but only one of those teams will move on through regionals. Um, and Peter, we help run we run the league. That's how we get so many games at one location. We run the Super Soccer League. So that's one of the features of the Super Soccer League is the live streaming, and of course we can only make that possible at such a you know accessible level by controlling the scheduling and the facility. That's one of the great things we have going for us. July 5th. Thank you, Wendy. Wendy, I trust Wendy to be on top of the scheduling, and she's here in the chat with the match of the DMV North versus South, July 5th.
Oh, is it July 5th? I thought it was. For some reason, I thought it was July 13th or 12th or whatever. I believe Wendy. No, I'm not. I'm not saying Wendy's wrong. I just for some reason I thought that. Alrighty. Well, that's it for tonight. Any final words before we sign off here and stop checking the calendar? We'll figure it out off air. Oh,
I
see,
have it
I was
though.
right.
I have the
I was right. I was right. Thank you, Wendy. I was
yeah.
right. July 12th.
It is the championship, I believe, for the DMV
For
North
she just said it
is
for
yeah.
DMV North is
That's what I was
July
checking.
5th.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Final words. I mean, please, for real. Now, if you haven't, and you got to subscribe, because we got not only new teams to cover, we have playoffs coming up. We have lots of more leagues than we've ever had. If you aren't aware, we are also covering the USL2 and USLW on NBC Sports Engine for Patuxent. We are covering the WPSL on the National Soccer Network on YouTube. So there's even more matches than you're seeing on our YouTube. But on our YouTube, you're getting to see the best. We got Virginia Dream, we got MSI, we got DMV Elite, we got Ristosi coming up soon. In addition to Alexandria United, Blazers, Villarreal, a whole host. And I'm sorry if I haven't listed your team, but we got a lot of teams to cover in the Super League. So, and the APL finals, semifinals, and finals also coming up. The American Premier League. Sorry, we haven't given you your coverage, but there were no APL matches this weekend. But watch out, Los Toros, Aegean Hawks, Yins United, I believe World Class Premier, all vying for that top spot, and we'll have more coverage of the American Premier League coming up this Sunday.
There you go. There you go. So if you haven't subscribed, you're absolutely missing out. Do make sure you hit that subscribe button. And also, if you want to, if we're not streaming, which is very minimal, or very not possible because we're always streaming. But if for some reason there's a day we don't have any, or you just want to flip flop between other channels, I'm going to be friendly and plug in Peter's channel where he streams games, lower
Yes.
league games in the Chicago area.
Midwest Media Network, Midwest Media Network, and they have some great coverage out there. Chicago Nation, we've gotten to see them actually match up with some teams from this area. They've been to the national finals, the Final Four. Chicago Nation, I think they're a perennial appearance maker at the regional and national level in the UPSL. So check out his channel. They do a great job, and I think right now Peter kind of doing it a lot himself. So it's a young channel. He's growing. I totally can relate. And I remember when it was just me running around with the camera. Thankfully, it's not. But Peter, appreciate your support as always.
There you go. There you go. Well, everyone, have a great evening. We will see you all very soon. Take care,
Yep.
everyone.